So I'm from the DMV area. We say Maryland like the wizard. So I'm gonna do a poem I don't do too often, but I figure this is kind of place for it. So this is called That Poem About Jesus. Okay. Joseph and Mary back in 1981 was about to get married, but also about to have a son. Now, they never had sex before, and Joseph thought she was cheating. And he actually had plans to leave, and so he saw the angel Gabriel that evening. Now, back then, President Ronald Reagan issued a census and a tax. So Joseph and Mary called Greyhound bus and traveled back to Atlanta. But none of the hotels had room. So Joseph and Mary stayed a few nights in a gas station bathroom. Mary gave birth on the floor with nothing but tap water to drink. They wrapped Jesus in t-shirts and let him sleep in the sink. But they couldn't stay and chill, because President Reagan ordered every child in the state of Georgia 2 years and younger to be killed.
Come on.
So they fled to Mexico and waited for Reagan's term to end. Good for them, President Bush had no plans for mass murder again. Wise men flew in to see Jesus when he was about 2 years old, and they all brought him gifts of diamonds, platinum, and gold.
Come on.
Now back then, Jesus lived a pretty normal life. Never got in trouble in school, never got in a fight. Graduated with honors, but he didn't go to college. Instead, he went into the construction business like his father. When Jesus was about 30, that's when Satan attempted to tempt him, with the intention for him to sin, to be thrown off of his mission. But Jesus ain't fall for it. His mission was to save us also. In 2011, his ministry started growing. He began to be the prophet that John the Baptist said he would. His buzz started growing when he started preaching on corners of bad neighborhoods. A couple clips of him went viral. Then his followers on Instagram and Twitter started growing, but he only rode with 12 disciples. It's the only ones that really know him. He started healing people against the government's approval, turning water bottles into wine at a wedding occasion, healed 10 cancer patients at the same hospital, but only one came back and thanked him. Brought his friend Lazarus back to life even though he was in the morgue, and gave Stevie Wonder sight, and got Michael J. Fox cured. Fed 5,000 people at a music festival with a couple Subway sandwiches, and walked on water and stopped the tsunami from hitting Japan and causing damages. But then one evening in 2014, when Jesus was praying in the park, his disciples fell asleep for some reason when it got dark. Judas snitched and betrayed Jesus by dapping him up. Peter said, "Nah," took out a Glock, aimed for the head, missed, and shot a policeman's ear off. And after Peter tried to kill him, Jesus picked up his ear and still healed him. But they still handcuffed Jesus and threw him into prison, because he was getting too popular and inspiring too much change. So the government conspired to kill him like they did Martin Luther King. In exchange, President Barack Obama freed Osama bin Laden, because America wanted Jesus dead and Obama ain't want no problems. They put him on death row, but Jesus ain't fight the charges. He started healing people against the government's approval, calling himself the Son of God. They called it blasphemy, but Jesus was being honest. So they beat him regardless. Body blows and headshots. Put a barbed wire crown on his head. The blood soaked his dreadlocks. They beat him with police batons with nails latched onto it, stripped him of his clothes and threw him on eBay and auctioned it. The whole world was watching. I ain't do this on a whole lot. Come on. I ain't mean to mess up the flow. I ain't do this. They stripped him of his clothes and put him on eBay and auctioned it. They made him walk to his own execution for about an hour and a half, and made him carry his own 165-pound tree across his back, with no help, in fact, from police escorts and helicopters or news anchors reporting live while people watched it. They broadcasted it live on every television set. The whole world saw the police tie a noose around Jesus' neck. They nailed his hands behind his back and hung that rope across the tree, and everyone that seen it felt it. It made him stand on a block of ice so he hung slowly as it melted. As his toes caused frostbite, he asked for a sip of water, and they gave him a cup of apple cider vinegar. People gathered around with their phones out filming him. They was killing him. And people was taking selfies. Tickets were being distributed between the sacrilegious and wealthy. They paid good money to spit in his face and mocked him all day. And it seems like his only mother cried. And to make sure he was no longer alive, the police shot him in his side. Jesus died for our sins. And some people don't believe he ever lived. He was willingly executed for every bad thing we ever did, and some people don't believe he even exists. So even though his execution was commercialized and highly publicized, his corporate-sponsored funeral was televised as a closed casket because they couldn't find his body, because 3 days later he rose again and he's still alive.